Okay. Hi there, folks. I'm Rohan Poddar. I'm a visual storyteller for social good brands, and I run a blog called Creatively Unsettled. Today, I have with me Vinod, Mr. Vinod Chandrashekar. He's a leader of Bangalore chapter of DataKind. They apply data analytics and data science to social good. So, welcome, Vinod.
Hey Rohan, thanks for hosting me.
So, it's really interesting how I came across DataKind. I'm as a part of my blog, I'm carrying out a survey to understand the marketing practices of social enterprises in India. And what really happened is I was very curious to know how social enterprises market themselves, given the fact that they are driven by social missions. And is so the questions that came to my mind is their marketing different from the other consumer brands? Do they use different kind of content than other consumer brands, etc.? And so I initiated this survey probably a month or 2 months ago. And while looking out for similar surveys and data around this field, I stumbled across DataKind. And I was really amazed at the concept of applying data sciences organizations and to solutions, which is amazing, which is like marrying latest technology for social good, which hitherto is probably considered a domain of only consumer science, consumer. So, Vinod, the first thing that strikes me when I see your website is it says that harnessing the power of data science in service of humanity. How do you do this?
Uh, like you rightly said, Rohan, what we do is we use powerful technologies like data science, not just for companies. Even if data science could be applied for companies for the sake of profits, right? And if data science is so powerful, it should be used for more humanitarian purposes. So out of this thought was what was born, and it was born in 2011, and we have 6 chapters all over the world. The Bangalore chapter was started in 2014, and in the last 2 years, my interaction with the nonprofits has been more than the marketing side of it. It is already people who are mission driven. So they don't, the term marketing, which is there for the consumer brands, don't exactly apply for the nonprofits. It's about people who come forward and work for the cause. And what we do is this cause which they're after, we help them to kind of take a more data-driven approach to solving problems. Be it someone trying to solve the number of complaints which is going to come up the next week, or to look at a fellow attrition for the educational institute, or looking at how the budgets the government has allocated is being spent. So we try to bring in a lot of transparency into the data, and as well as how this is being kind of effectively used for the social good. So DataKind stands on 2 pillars of open data and social good.
This sounds really, really amazing. However, one question that comes to my mind when I think about data is typically in emerging countries like India, emerging markets and economies like India. Of course, there are a lot of social organizations. There are a lot of new age social enterprises which are emerging. Many volunteers, administrators, managers who are are slowly getting attached to this sector. But is there enough data available at the end of the day? Because I don't know how many of them really. What I would assume is that if you really need data, it has to be like a discipline among the employees and the volunteers with that data. Does that really happen on the ground?
Interesting question, Rohan. There are 2 sides of it. One is we vet the organizations to find out which organizations has the data. We also, before we work with a non-profit for a cause, we also look at what is the data literacy and what is the sort of data which they have, right? And if they don't have the data also, we look at, is there any other forms of data, like a proxy variable, right? Can those proxy variables be used to solve the problem which the nonprofit is addressing? And the idea of open data is also taking off in India, and there are a lot of portals where data is readily accessible. So data
Okay.
related to the weather, the data related to the climatic conditions. So these a larger chunk of the open data is available for us to refer. And for
But
the
let's say,
organizations which don't have,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
for the organizations which still don't have, right, we uh, we don't go for a longer term engagement. We uh, we probably have a kind of a weekend consulting in which we tell what are the forms of data you should be collecting, and we would be happy to kind of relook into the project 6 months down the line.
Okay. Okay. So, but this, so you are saying, of course, not all of them must be having enough data, and uh, especially impact related data. Do you think social organizations are left wanting in that particular area?
Uh, the metrics which the social organization measures would always be very closely related to the impact itself. So they do kind of have an understanding of wherever they could measure the impact, they are able to. But on the other side of it, a non-profit sector also looks at what is the cultural change they're able to kind of bring in. So these are
Mhm.
variables which cannot be tangibly measured.
Correct. So how do so it's basically, see, data, I think probably it's also about the working culture of an organization, where which is to a very high degree subjective and intangible. Does your work, DataKind's work, involve that as well?
So we are primarily, when we take up a project, we work as uh, we take a two-forked approach in which there's a social organization and a bunch of data volunteers, which includes data scientists and people with varied background in the data analytics side of it.
Mhm.
So the data per se consulting is where you know we come into picture, and but we spend a good amount of time in understanding how do we kind of measure what is the impact we are trying to create over the course of the engagement. So
Mhm.
we define the problem statement well, and we agree upon what would be considered as a success metric, and then only proceed on it. And if we are not able to measure the success metric very well, we uh, we brainstorm a couple of other sessions to see, is this the right time to take this project up, or can we collect additional data and relook into it in future.
Okay, okay. So we know, to understand how does DataKind work? You engage directly with social good organizations, and they are your direct customers, or what channel do you use, and how is a typical engagement look like, in terms of the time span, in terms of whom do you engage with in your target organization?
Sure. So we have based on the course of the engagement, we have defined three different projects specifically, right? What we call as initially it's called a project accelerator night, in which a nonprofit comes and brainstorms what the problem is, and then
Mhm.
we have a data dive. Data dive is a 2 day weekend event in which
Mhm.
something concrete comes out of what is the given the data which they have and the problem which the nonprofit is trying to address. What can we know? What can we deliver? That's a 2 day weekend thing is a data dive, and anything beyond it, a longer term engagement which can go from a month to over 6 months is called a data core.
Mhm.
Three different types of engagements we have, and typically we reach out to nonprofits, and the nonprofits with whom we have worked, they also refer other nonprofits in the similar sector of to for them to work more efficiently, using a data driven
Okay.
approach.
So non-profits are your direct clients and they pay for the service.
No, they don't pay for the service. So DataKind is it's purely pro bono, and everybody who's volunteering here has a regular day job. On the weekends, we come together and do it for good cause. That being
Okay.
said, for the longer term engagement of 6 months, right, there's a pay as you wish model, right? If the nonprofit can contribute a small kind of a donation to
Mm-hmm.
which will go into opening up and spreading this movement across, opening more chapters and spreading this movement across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's purely it's not for profit, and we don't charge anything. It's only
Okay.
we at the end of the engagement we ask the nonprofit, that too only for a longer term engagement, that you can pay as you wish, and it's a very small amount as a donation, which will help us, which will help DataKind to support more chapters across the world.
Amazing, amazing. Vinod, lastly, can you share some interesting projects that you've worked on yourself or as a team in recent past, just to get a sense of what kind of projects non-profits and other social sector organizations engage you in, especially in India, if you can if you have some stories in India.
Sure, Rohan. So we have worked from the government to the non-profits. We have worked with the Bangalore Police Department in analyzing the crimes, to the recent one, a longer-term data call engagement with the Chennai Municipal Corporation,
Mm-hmm.
where we are planning to forecast what will be the number of complaints for the upcoming week. So,
Mm-hmm.
so the office of the commissioner could kind of plan what is the required number of resources on the ground to be allocated, so that the closure rates for these complaints are much quicker. So we are using forecasting methodologies to identify, okay, given a particular ward, tomorrow, the next week, how many non-burning of street light cases are going to be there? How
Mm-hmm.
many stray dog menaces going to be there, right? And we are able to, once we're able to accurately predict this and forecast, we could we share this data with the municipal corporation, and they can plan out the resource allocation.
Okay. So,
So
yeah.
yeah, this one of the one which we are doing recently, and in the past we have engaged with organizations like Teach for India, Janagraha, Digital Green, and we are working one with currently with Center for Budget and Governance Accountability.
Okay, okay. Um, I understand, we have a little bit shortage of time, but before I let you go, I am tempted to ask, what's the vision for the India chapter, at least, in terms of what kind of work or where areas where you think there's a lot of scope for data science to work together with the social sector in maybe coming 4 to 5 years?
Uh, the beauty of the science is it could be applied across sectors, Rohan. And what we are not specific to any one sector. We
Hmm.
are open to exploring with all the different sectors.
Hmm.
Uh, but the primary thing is we need to identify, one is the nonprofit collecting data, and if they don't have the data, can I look at other alternate sources or the proxy variables to identify the data? And healthcare and the disease prevention would be a largely that would be my personal, not as data kind, but that would be largely of my interest.
Hmm.
The areas in which we could solve using data science, and have a lot more impact on it. Uh, so till now, the sectors which we have covered is, we have covered urban governance, we have covered agriculture, we have covered education, and we have covered government accountability,
Hmm.
and also a little bit in the education and the lending space of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Rohan. So these are the sectors we have covered, and hopefully we'll be able to have an impact across a lot more sectors.
Right, right. Thanks, Vinod. Thanks for joining me today in this quick chat, and really appreciate for taking the time out for Creatively Unsettled.
Thanks, Rohan. Thanks for having me.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
Goodbye.